Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan Battle video, and today we're going to do a team building guide for the new LR Trio that is coming out for worldwide. So this is the counterpart to the new Broly unit. I just put out a team building guide on the Broly, so definitely check that out if you want ideas for how to build his team. Now what we're going to do in this video is talk about the new LR Trio. They technically have not dropped yet. At the time I'm recording this video, they're going to drop in about 3.5 hours. So very, very close to dropping, right? So I figured I wanted these out right away so players would know how to build teams right away if they pull them right away. I will say this, the Super Saiyan Trio, and this is a Goku, Trunks, and Gohan, right? So it's a Goku, Trunks, and Gohan card, Super Saiyan card. They're way trickier to build because there are a lot more options. Okay, so I'm going to definitely be putting out a lot more options for this team. I'm going to be showing you the team that I would probably start with or that I might tinker with. But team building, especially with super class teams, they're going to constantly evolve and change based on the event. And there's a lot of units that I feel like you can run on this team that are on fairly equal footing. So then it might come down to typing and things like that that you want to run. The one thing you want to keep in mind with this unit is they want a movie hero or all-out struggle unit on the rotation with them. So you want to try to make sure that they're always going to have that. So keep that in mind, because you could have a Power of Wishes unit that isn't on either of those, and then he wouldn't get that. So just be aware of that. And when we look at their leader skill is all-out struggle, Super Saiyans, and Power of Wishes. And that's a very, very loaded set of units, right? There's a lot you can run there, and super class always has so much more than extreme class does. So I'm going to talk about maybe an initial team build that I'm thinking about, and then I'll talk about other top tier units you can run. The other disclaimer here is we still don't know what part 2 is. Whatever the part 2 unit is, the Carnival will probably be really good on their team and probably a top tier option. And there are also EZAs coming still that we don't know of that could work well on the team. And I'm going to talk about some of those EZAs in this video, right? So let's start with the team build here. Now I have 2 placeholders because there's 2 units initially on the banner that I think you're going to want to run. So obviously I'm going to use this as a placeholder just because it's physical Super Saiyan Goku, which is what the unit will basically, they do a, what you call it, not an exchange, but you know, they do the thing where they dodge for, or they don't attack for a while and then he does the big attack, right? So he's going to have that type of effect. So the Super Saiyan Goku actually doesn't attack until you do the finisher, right? So I'm going to just use that guy as the placeholder for the LR Trio, but that would be the new LR Trio. And then I'm going to use this guy as a placeholder because there's a Piccolo Vegeta exchange unit. It actually starts out as Piccolo and exchanges in the Vegeta, and they're really, really busted. So first, let me just talk about like the interaction that makes those two so busted and good together. One is like the Vegeta unit has like 50% damage reduction, which is really good. Really good support passive on the unit. But what this Vegeta does is it changes 3 different types of orbs to physical. So essentially what happens is the turn you exchange into Vegeta, you're going to get a full field of physical orbs with whatever rainbow orbs are on the board. That's significant because the LR Trio, and once again we're imagining this is the LR Trio, they give like 7% defense per physical orb to the entire rotation. So what this unit essentially is going to do is, because they have that crazy like nuking support defense, it's actually going to make some units defensively viable that were not previously viable. So they're such a game-changing unit in that they can actually make units runnable that maybe weren't runnable before, which is really, really good. So that turn that you transform into Vegeta, your rotation's defense is going to be bonkers off the wall crazy. Obviously, depending on the units you run, you can't just run like a Cyberman and expect them to live, right? But that's kind of the general idea between those two as an interaction. So they work really, really well together, right? I think Evolution Blue Vegeta is the easiest, like guaranteed like slot in here. He is all out struggle, which fulfills the requirement of the unit to get their full passive. And he's one of the best units in the game. Probably like well, after the celebration, he might get pushed out of top 3, but previous to the celebration, this is considered like maybe the 2nd or 3rd best unit in the game. Like really, really good, right? So you run this guy for sure if you have him. The rest of it, to be honest, is kind of up in the air and up to preference. To me, I'm going to run like the new Gogeta. He's movie hero. I could run him on rotation, and I think he'll be fine. I like him. It gives the team access to a lock mechanic. I feel like the lock mechanic is too valuable not to use if you can get access to it. And on this particular team, and once again, this team build guide is going to be for the main unit as the lead. So obviously, you can't run UI Gokus here because they don't fit on the leader skill, but you could run the new unit on teams with the UI Goku. You just need a different leader, right? So because I'm focusing just on this unit as the lead, I think this Gogeta is one of the better units you can run because they have the lock mechanic, and I think they're going to be really good there. And then I personally, if I can get good supports on the team, I like to round out my team with good supports. You don't have to. You could run full, offensive team if you want. But to me, the Gammas are one of the better support units you can run, and STR Bulma is still a really excellent support unit you can run. So that's kind of what I'm going with as my initial. This is going to be kind of maybe the starting team I use with them. Obviously, this is going to change and evolve, as I said. New units coming out. Could even be another free-to-play unit there. More EZAs coming, right? So let's look at now. So let's start with this team build as our baseline. And now what you guys do is, depending on what's in your box, look at what I'm suggesting here in other slots, and you can start to substitute in. Just keep in mind, try to run an all-out struggle or movie hero on rotation with them if you can. It can still work with a different unit on rotation, provided you always have something floating in on one of those, but you really want to keep that up. So some other really good viable units you can run. STR Vegito, I think, is still a great unit you can run. The physical Blue Boys, these guys could actually count like as your support slot because they are orb changing, which actually can be pretty significant. These guys can help the LR trio like achieve their goal of getting, more orbs, which is good. I think STR Kefla is still ridiculous. Int Gotenks is still definitely good enough to run. Gotenks could come into play too, even more depending on the EZAs, and we'll talk about that. The Year 8 GT duo, I think they are still good enough to run. They have a really good standby skill. That's the word I was looking for earlier, standby. That's what basically the Spirit Bomb Punch Goku that they transform into. It's a standby is what that is. So your LR trio, you get the standby into the Goku. The Goku does not attack, but basically when you get hit or collect orbs, you get charges. And if you get 41 charges, then you get the Super Uber Mega Punch, and it's going to deal a crap ton of damage. So that's kind of how the new unit works, right? So the Year 8 duo, I think, is good enough to run. I mean, Orange Piccolo is Orange Piccolo. He's still definitely good enough to run. Power creep's gotten to the point, though, where, like, the bosses that hit insanely hard, like turn 1, like, Piccolo can get crushed. So you have to find ways for, like, units that need to get hit to build up. When they get to the point that they're not defensively viable early in a fight, they struggle a bit, right? We've seen this with, like, physical Super Easy Goku Black. Like, he's a great unit when fully built up, but man, to get him those early hits can really be a struggle. And now Orange Piccolo, to me, is starting to feel that way. So Orange Piccolo isn't like a must run like maybe he used to be, but he still has a lot of value, because if you do get him built up, he can get to very good defensive levels still, and the Orange Piccolo mode is still incredibly good, right? To get that giant form, it's essentially like a Ghost Usher and gets you a free turn, which is great. Plus, you get some chip damage during the Orange Piccolo giant form to get some extra damage in, right? Some other options you can run, you definitely could do like an Ultimate Gohan rotation. So like if you want to run this guy with this guy, you definitely could do that, right? I think Physical Ultimate Gohan also is on the team, so you could run him too if you wanted to. I forgot to put him in here, but he's another option I think you potentially could run. Actually, is Physical Gohan? He might not actually be on the team, but if he is, just know he's an option. Future Gohan, definitely a good option you could run. This guy could be like, if you want a domain on the team, this would probably be the unit you want to run. You also can run the Physical Carnival Trunks, but I don't know. I just don't feel very confident about Physical LR Trunks, so I didn't put him on here, but you could try the Physical LR Trunks. I feel much better about, I think, Future Gohan than that Trunks. Now, here's where we get into, like, EZA talk. Part 2 is probably extremely highly likely that this guy gets their EZA. And I think they're going to be a very good, impactful EZA. And then the Tech Krillin. So you see that Krillin in the background. I forgot to put his card up. Tech Krillin could be another really good option if he gets a good EZA. And I think he could. And that Tech Krillin does have damage reduction in his kit right now. So with EZA, could be very, very impressive, actually, that Tech Krillin. What's so good about these guys is they are kind of built on dodge. And they do get an active skill turn where they get guaranteed dodge for the turn, which is incredibly busted. Very good. So that tells you this could be a slot 1 unit. Now, outside of that active skill turn, it's going to depend on how good of an EZA they get, if they're going to be able to be in slot 1 on other turns. But if they are, the thing that's going to be crazy is I think these guys come into play. I talked about these guys before, but this is an Int Goten and a Tech Trunks that these units have built-in 80% damage reduction, provided Goten has to be on rotation with a Kid Trunks or a Krillin, and this Trunks has to be on rotation with either a Goten, a Kid Goten, or a Krillin, right? Well, this guy solves the issue for both of them. So this guy, if he's EZA'd into a slot 1 unit, you simply run them in slot 1, and you put either one of these guys in slot 2. It's going to activate either one of them, and then you've got a really nice 1-2 punch of your slot 1 dodger, slot 2 80% damage reduction. I feel like it's nearly an untouchable rotation that you could run. And then your other rotation, you've got the new LR trio with whatever busted unit you want to run, like Evolution of Blue Vegeta. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And then obviously you could have that Tech Krillin floating around if he's got insane damage reduction after his EZA. So once again, these guys, don't consider them right away. But if this guy gets an EZA, then you definitely want to dust these guys off. Make sure you got their EZAs done if you haven't done it, because I think they're going to be incredibly good. Some more units, because why not? There's so many units on this team. I would say if you want to do like a Gogeta rotation, or like once again, this could be for newish players, but this is maybe a returning player as well. But this is a unit a lot of people probably have in their box I think is runnable on the team if you need to fill a spot. He's definitely not my first choice to put on the team, but he's definitely runnable. Like, he's aging very well, because you just have to get him to that blue Gogeta, and he's a 70% dodge, like 10 to 12 million attacker with guaranteed crit. Like, really, really good. So I think this guy's definitely an option you can run if you need to. Broly, Cheelai, and Lemo, always an option to run because of their potential guaranteed dodge. Goku Black, I would say not as much. I threw him here because he is a super EZA you can run on the team, but he's really geared around being with super bosses. But there is a way you could run him where, like, if you want to do a pocket of like this Goku Black, and then Broly, and like you're running them all on the team, that could be enough to warrant actually running the physical Goku Black. So if you need to mix in some extreme units, I think that's the way you do it. You go with those couple of Goku Black units, and then AGL Broly definitely fits on the team, right? I would say Broly wouldn't be my first choice. Like, he's really good, but I've talked about this when we were doing like Beast Gohan builds and stuff. Broly's like, for this guy to be crazy, you want to use his domain, and his domain really only benefits extreme units, right? And it can actually hurt super class units. So I prefer not to run a domain that's going to hurt most of my team. Broly is an excellent unit though. Like, if he's what you got, like, you can definitely run him, right? And it's going to be worth the super class nerf to get his domain up and get him rolling for sure. But just know that he personally wouldn't be my first choice, because I don't want that domain hurting my own units. I would rather run the future Gohan, to be honest, and have his domain up. And then this guy actually could be really, like, this guy, I'm not going to lie, is probably going to be the best linking partner for the new unit. I haven't looked at the other units' links, but being that this is a triple Super Saiyan unit, like, this is an incredibly generic, like, Super Saiyan link set. Like, this is the de facto Super Saiyan link set. So the new unit, I'm pretty sure, has this exact same set, if not very close to it. So I'm expecting a 6 or 7 linking partner with the trio here. So if you want like the best linking partner, it's probably going to be this guy. And I've already seen defense calcs out on this guy when you actually get like the really good defensive support going from the new trio. This guy can get to like 1.8 million defense when you're getting like double support, because the thing that's significant about the new LR trio is they've got like 2-turn defense supports, and you're going to have one of those on each rotation. So you keep that 2-turn support rolling with 2 different units. It gets pretty nutty, and it's going to make these units way more defensive. So this here, I think, is a prime example of a unit that we would think is probably not good enough for current content that might actually get there with this unit. So this is a unit some of you may have pulled a while ago and haven't used. I think they're going to get a little bit of a resurgence here. And I think these guys are pretty close to being like one of my top picks to put on the team. I'm definitely personally going to try them out if I pull the new unit. I haven't decided if I'm going to go for them yet. I'm for sure going for Broly, but I don't know if I'm going to go for the trio yet. But these guys, I think, definitely could be a really nice option you could run there. And I think, yeah, that was the last set. Now, there's more units you could run for filler if you need to. I would say if you're still struggling with how to build the team, maybe your box is really, really limited, definitely you can hit me up in the comments. It's usually easier, though, if you join my Discord, because the first thing I'm going to ask you when you say, what should I swap in for this unit? I'm going to say, well, I don't know what you have. I need to see your box. You can't really show me your box in the YouTube comment. So in the description of every video I make, I have a link to my Discord. Feel free to join. Go to the Dokkan channel, and I have a team building channel in there. And go ahead and just post your question. If you specifically want me to look at it, you have to ping me. And don't feel afraid to ping me. I don't mind getting pings. Like, I'll check it out. If you just post it generically, there are other people there that are on it pretty quick, and they'll just help you out, right? So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of this unit. But this is kind of the units I'm thinking of. And once again, we'll go back. Something like this, I think, is the baseline. Like, that new banner unit, I think, is going to be super, super insane on this team. And I would say, you know, Evolution Blue Vegeta is for sure a slot in. And then the rest of the team, kind of pick out of all the units I went through, whatever you have in there. I think those are some great options you can run. And then obviously don't forget the part 2 Carnival's probably going to be ideal here. And there are other EZAs coming that we haven't talked about, so keep your eye out on those as well. So let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.